Hello, America. I have to tell you, we've talked about a lot of spooky things on this program, and I'm hoping that a lot of these things are wrong, but I think we need to think out of the box. We're in an age of the unthinkable. Yesterday, I asked you the question, does it matter? Does it matter that these people are Marxists? Does it matter that the guy who is rebuilding our automotive industry has no experience in automotive business? He's 31-year-old Brian Deese. He slept in his car in a GM parking lot. That's about it. Does it matter that the manufacturing czar has said the free market is nonsense, and he's not alone in his love of redistributing wealth?
We get the joke. We know that the free market is nonsense.
In Venezuela, there is really an incredible revolution, democratic revolution.
And I think when you spread the wealth around, it's good for everybody.
Give them the wealth! Give them the wealth!
Mao Zedong and Mother Teresa, the two people that I turn to most.
Okay, does that matter? We have Marxists and radicals serving in the administration and advising the President of the United States. Does it matter? Well, yes, it does. Now, I've told you on this program before about Cloward and Piven. It is a 1960s strategy that actually taught people the best way to stop the Republic, the best way to stop America, the best way to subvert the Constitution and replace it with communism, Marxism, socialism, whatever, is to financially collapse it. Not to fight in the streets, but financially fight. Well, just a year ago, I will tell you that this stuff sounded absolutely crazy. It still sounds, there are times at night I lay in bed and I'm like, this cannot be true. How can these people, this can't be true. Well, it is. These people are now the ruling class. We've worried about the debt, you and I. We have worried about it for years. We worried about it under George Bush. It wasn't sustainable. That was one of the big things about George W. Bush. Hello, stop spending money. But tonight, I not only want to show you how bad the debt is, but I also want to show it to you because I think if you're armed with information, look, you're neither stupid nor are you panicky. You just need somebody to tell you the truth and tell you what to do about it. Well, I can't tell you what to do about it exactly, but I can tell you the truth. At least the truth as I understand it. And then if you have that truth, if you have that information, if a crisis comes, you're not going to accept their answer because you'll understand what the problem is. You won't accept the solution that I think is coming. And what is coming is a system that doesn't really look a lot like America as you know it, because this system is unsustainable for the way the people in Washington have built it. It is a system that is going to financially collapse at some point. A system, quite honestly, that looks a lot like what just happened in Iceland. In Iceland, just 4 years ago, Iceland was booming. Everybody looked at it and said, this is a great economy, this is a great country. It was growing at 5% and boasting the first Icelander to make the Forbes wealthiest list. Well, in October of last year, a year ago, Iceland's stocks dropped 77% in a single day. They went from being in a position to where they were importing workers from Poland to a 10% unemployment rate like that. Massive debt, coupled with currency and banking crisis, has caused Iceland's once thriving economy to hit the skids. Now, their GDP is around $20 billion, and their foreign debt alone was $120 billion, 6 times their GDP. Our GDP now, what we make as a country, is $15 trillion. Our actual debt, as you've seen many times on this show it here, is $105 trillion. This is our national debt, but the actual debt is $105 trillion, 7 times our GDP. Now, I want to make this clear. Did you just see the number that I just showed you? It said 11 trillion, didn't say 11 trillion. That's the games we play. Our government is playing accounting games right now. Do you realize we have 4 separate accounting books? Yeah, you try that with the IRS. Here's what I think they're doing. Look at the debt clock once again. They're only saying almost 12 trillion at the top, but the whole number is about $343,000 per citizen. There's no way to pay that off. So, conjecture on my part, how about we just print enough money to pay off the debt over time. Sure, I mean, it'll be worthless, but we'll be able to honor our agreement. We'll be able to give the Chinese their money back and the rest of our debtors. That way, the people that we owed get their money. And if we sold some stuff to them, well, they can come and take those assets. But then what's left? Because, see, there's got to be somebody who has thought this through. How do you restart the country? You got to have something left. You have to have something to back the currency. Gold. Gold would be a good one, huh? There are $200 trillion in investable assets in the world. There are only $800 billion in gold. That's why we went off the gold system in the first place. We need more money. There's not enough gold. Well, you can't go back to the gold standard for very long, and you need something to buy stuff with. You can't barter forever. What are you going to do? Well, if you have to have money, you got to base it on something. So let's go back in history and look at the people and what they taught us last century. When there's out-of-control money supply problems, who do you turn to? Well, the people who did it last time. The Weimar Republic in Germany. What did they do? How did they get their economy back on their feet? Well, after their currency had become so worthless that they had printed 2 trillion mark banknotes, their economy collapsed. They dumped the mark. They got rid of it. They just printed it up, paid off their debts, and then they switched to the Rentenmark. Now, what did they back it up with? Not enough gold. Look here. Answer is right here. The answer is right here. They can back it with real estate. Land. That's what they did in Germany. And there's certainly enough land and resources in America that we could back our currency with. I mean, the government, though, would have to own all of the land. Oh my gosh, I just thought of something. Between Fannie and Freddie, the government already owns half of all of the U.S. mortgages, and they're about to buy more. And if you couple that with the federal land and the grab for parks that they're doing now, and, oh, did you hear the polar bears are too crowded and endangered, so they just gave, what was it, 200 square miles there? That's great. Oh, and all the oil that we're currently not drilling for and the coal that we're not mining. Gosh, if you took all of that, I bet you could base a new currency off of that. Oh, and I bet China could come and help, because you probably wouldn't be happy with a system like that, taking all of the land, because that's one of our real rights that we had in our Constitution. I mean, what happens? Who would the new regime responsible for this new system of currency, who would they have on their side? Who would the federal government, after they've destroyed our future and your children's future, who would they have on your side? They say, let the government fix it. Let the world fix it. There's a better idea. Let the world fix it. They're already saying these things now. And when you watch Friday's show on global warming, you will see how they are laying the groundwork for this. Don't fool yourself. Read American history. Read any history. Both the American Revolution and the Civil War, we needed allies. We needed people who would fight and supply money. Our government is making those allies. Russia, China, Venezuela. But don't you think China would be willing to come over here and protect this government, help this government out from its own radical people who just won't sit down and recognize the new reality? Under these circumstances, for a piece of our oil, coal, mineral reserves, land, to be a part of one big happy global family, you bet they will. So it boils down to this. What if the dollar collapses in the next 3, 5, 8 years? Is there anybody thinking of a plan? Because I'd like to hear another plan. This is the only one I can come up with. Historically speaking, it's the only one I can find, too. Is there anybody making a plan? And does it matter?